Alright, so let's talk about how we would check the suspension and steering linkage on a solid axle then. In a couple of my last videos, we were looking at a double wishbone suspension that has a control arm on the lower and a control arm on the upper with a strut going in between. And we talked about how you need to jack up on the lower control arm, that way you load the suspension, which will in turn unload these ball joints, and then you can check the ball joints for play. So there's a couple different ways you can check them. I like to just push on the top of the tire and then pull on the bottom of the inside of the tire like this and really flex it. And then I like to grab at a diagonal angle like this on the back of the tire on the bottom and the back of the tire on the top. Pull it back and forth like this and then go this way. Pull it back and forth like this. If your ball joints have any play in them at all, you'll most likely feel it just by doing that. And the other thing you can do is have the tire just an inch or two up off the ground and grab a long pry bar. Just like we did on that F-150, just throw the pry bar under the wheel and pry up and down on it. You can either feel with your left hand on the top of the tire and see if you feel any sort of clunking or popping. You can also have somebody look underneath while you're doing that, or have a helper pry up on it for you and check those ball joints that way. Now let's go down here underneath with the truck on the ground. This truck has a drag link style steering linkage on it, meaning we've got a steering box with our drag link or center link connected to our tie rod, and this tie rod basically goes all the way across from one side to the other. The toe setting, which is this setting right here, is controlled off this one tie rod adjuster, and then the steering wheel angle, once you have that set total, the steering wheel is set with this adjuster here. We also have another item on here called a track bar, and that connects to the frame and then braces to the axle itself, and that's what keeps this whole straight axle centered underneath the frame. You might also hear this referred to as a panhard bar on like a rear differential or on different setups, but on this truck, Dodge calls this the track bar. Now the way I would check all of this steering linkage as well as this track bar right here, well, on a straight axle or a solid axle like we have on this 2000 Dodge pickup, you can go ahead and check these ones with the truck up in the air without jacking up on the axle at all, because the axle itself stays stationary, and these ball joints, if they have slop or play in them, are going to droop down. Is I would have a helper with the truck on the ground and the weight of the truck on the ground, take the steering wheel and turn it about like this. It would look like this on the tire. And then while the helper is in there turning the steering wheel back and forth, I can put my hand on each joint and feel for slop, or just watch them. They'll jump up and down if there's any movement or play in them. Put my hand on each joint here and feel if there's any play in them, and then recommend them for replacement as necessary. This truck's all nice and tight on the front, but that's how you would check the steering linkage, specifically on this Dodge pickup, but it's pretty much the same for any straight axle truck in the front. Hey, if you're a newer or less experienced tech, or you're someone that's interested in becoming an automotive technician and becoming a mechanic, be sure to jump onto my website and sign up for my waiting list for my Corey on Cars virtual apprenticeship that I have coming out. I'm going to be sending out a bunch of free tips and help along the way as well, so jump on there and check that out.